Pat's Pizza and Bistro, 1426 West Broad Street, Bethlehem, PA. One of my favorite places to go in the Valley, and they came on as a sponsor. Yanni's been on the podcast before. He's had me up there from tastings. I've had everything from the chicken fingers, which are made from scratch, all the way up to the brand new pasta flights. The pasta flights are trending. They are flying off the shelves. It's insane that they can even keep up. I met the chef over there. Legit, no joke stuff going on. They use clean ingredients, real food, fresh food. It is family owned, family operated. It is very fast and furious. If you go to their online website, it is right here. You can get all this information. You can order there. You can place pickup orders. You can have delivery on certain days, and the hours of operation are on there as well. Please go check them out. I am not just saying this. They are a legit force to be reckoned with in the Valley. That's Pat's Pizza and Bistro, 1426 West Broad Street, Bethlehem, PA. Finishers headquarters at this time. FinishersMMA.com. They are running the East Coast, running it. They have their jiu-jitsu classes, MMA classes, boxing classes, kickboxing, private jiu-jitsu. The facility is enormous. They have the gym in the back. They got fitness training going on there, weight training, conditioning. Everything that you need is in one spot. They are running the tournaments there. Their kids' classes have grown. If you need anything with mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu, and you want real deal, talking real deal, you want that, go there. There's no nonsense over there. None. It's very serious, like this promo. Very serious. Finishers. Headquarters. FinishersMMA.com. Check them out. Luke Delmeyer knives, handcrafted, handmade knives. I use mine every time we go to the pop-ups, and it is ridiculous. It is just something special. There's something different. It's handcrafted, it's handmade. Luke has grown since we started the show to now, where he is pumping out knives and classes. I want to push his classes. If you go to lukedelmeyer.com, it has all the information for the classes, and you get to take a 2-day course, and you go over everything from safety on how to use it. You're selecting the knife handles out, and you're really from top to bottom getting to go through the whole experience. Where else can you find that in the Valley? Luke is a very special person to the show. He's really cool. We've done projects together. We have apparel we're doing together. I really want you to go check it out. If you're interested in handcrafted stuff, working class stuff, blue collar stuff, like this is the area you need to go to. But it's lukedelmeyer.com, Luke Delmeyer, handcrafted knives. Sign up for those classes, those courses. Go check that out. It's really cool. It's a 2-day event, and you get to experience making your own knife, and then you take your knife home with you. And you're going to take home a little bit more than that. So check out Luke Delmeyer, friend of the show. Always awesome watching him grow. LukeDelmeyer.com. MindLeafCBD.com. Mind Leaf. Easton's own Mind Leaf CBD. I didn't know a lot about CBD till they became a sponsor and they started coming on the show a lot. And Liz is huge for, I learn something every time she comes on. They are over in College Hill in Easton. You can check out all their information on mindleafcbd.com. I believe you can order there, but go experience the store. Liz's mom works over there. Liz keeps bringing in products such as the honey flights. They have peanut butter, the infused pretzels. My favorite thing is the tinctures to go to sleep. I have problems sleeping, and these things put me out, and I have a little bit of lucid dreams riding the unicorn, and then I wake up back to normal, and then I get excited to do that again. So my big thing I use with them is the tinctures and the balm. The balm is another one. I use it for aches and pains on my knees, and my old man uses it for his arthritis. Mind Leaf CBD. They are over in Easton on College Hill. Please go check the store out. Really cool space, and like I said, Liz's mom's over there, and they will help you with everything. It's awesome that they're super local, and I stand behind their CBD and everything that they got coming out of there. That's Mind Leaf CBD, mindleafcbd.com. I definitely get the munchies, and then knowing how to cook, it doesn't fare well for me. I'll get into some weird stuff.
You know what I love? I love the orange cheese that like comes in a fucking paint can.
The Cheese Whiz, like the spray cheese.
The most like underrated culinary feat that we have pulled off.
What do you put it on? Like a Ritz cracker?
I dose high with Velveeta. I like add extra cheese to my Velveeta. I actually do spicy shit a lot when I have munchies too. So
what do you make?
I make Velveeta mac and cheese, the shells and the cheese, and then I have like ghost pepper powder. Yeah. It's hot.
Yeah.
I think I've had this thing for like maybe 3 years, and it doesn't even have a dent in it.
What, the ghost powder?
Yeah.
That I don't. Jer really is into like super super hot stuff. I don't fare well with like. I don't like stuff that like makes snot come out of my nose and my fucking eyes start watering.
I do.
You're a mad woman. What did he have? It was like a pepper that sits at the fucking bottom of the jar. I wish I could. It's like in like the top 3 hottest fucking things.
Oh shit. Like a Carolina Reaper.
It was like something like that. I can't remember what the fuck he had. But he's like, here, it's an experience. And we were drunk and high, and we started to get into munchies. And he's like, just eat this. And I did. And it was literally 15 minutes of snot, tears, and me being like, what the fuck are you doing? Why would... And he's like, it's so good. And I'm like, it's not good. And my whole tongue is like swelled up. And then... milk. I'm like, give me milk, because I'm always from like watching Hot Ones and all that. And I'm like, water, milk, molasses, anything. So I'm like, literally drank a half a gallon of milk, and then I'm like, and then like it finally went away, and he's like, you want another one? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. I don't like. Then he like went on this kick where he got the those jelly beans, where it was like a game where like you spin it and then
God,
it's like comes in like a little package like this.
One of them is like spoiled milk,
dude.
Right?
It fucked my tongue up so bad, and then it was the same thing where I had to go back to getting fucking milk, and I'm like, dude, I'm out, I'm out. So now whenever they got spicy stuff, I'm like, get out of here. I'll get hot wings, but other than that, like, I don't like it. It was ruined. There's
a little bit of similarity to feeling high.
Oh yeah, it definitely gives you I wouldn't say a buzz, but it definitely gives you like
I think it's like endorphins, right?
Yeah.
And it just like makes you feel like you're space trucking or something.
Yeah, it made me feel like I was dying. I didn't like it at all. I wish I could remember. Scotch bonnet is what it was.
Oh shit, yeah, I grow those in my garden.
Fuck those. Fuck Scotch bonnets. When did you get into hot stuff?
Oh, this has been like a compounding thing since my teens, probably. It just started with like eating salsa with my dad. My dad's super into hot stuff.
Yeah.
So it's probably like genetic a little bit.
But like I like the hot salsa, and I like getting into hotter things, and I'll even like fuck with a jalapeno that's actually hot, or something that like you add to a large amount of things and it ups the spice. But like eating a Scotch bonnet out of a jar, and for 15 minutes you're just in pain, and it's just
I don't typically eat like peppers.
He does.
Right out
like
of
he'll be like, cut it in half. Like, dude, you got to get into this. And I'm like, dude, I don't want any of that. Or ghost peppers. I watched my friend eat one of those once. Like, that's why.
Somebody
why?
brought
why would you do that?
Ghost peppers to a party I was at. There was like 3 of them, and the boys like just down the hatch, and they were like out of commission for like 30 minutes.
How much can you add in that? Because now that we're talking about this, I'm thinking you could definitely do like a ghost pepper or a spicy jalapeno bagel.
Ooh.
And like blend it in the way Gina does with the raisins, and like, because we started infusing stuff with the bagels, where like the last one we made was, we wanted to do a ham and Swiss sandwich. So I looked up ham and Swiss melt, and then I usually find something, and then I'll just go back and forth until it's like, I like finding something and then making it my own.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, ham and Swiss, that's just a boring sell, especially through Instagram. And then I was like, we got to kind of take it up. So everything on the ham and Swiss was the King's Hawaiian. So then I was like, all right, well, King's Hawaiian actually has a King's Hawaiian bagel, which I did not know. And then I was like, all right, well, I was like, I don't want a King's Hawaiian bagel because I want it to be our bagel. So we started looking up like a copycat thing, and it's just adding pineapple juice. And then she made it, and it's always, the first one's always okay. It's just okay. And then I was like, you need to give this like a pat on the ass to a kid going to school. It needs a little bit more. Bit more. Boop, boop. So I was like, let's infuse like pineapple, like puree, or like actually put pineapple in it. So there's like little pineapple chunks. But she already figured out how to do this from doing the cinnamon raisin bagel and doing the Mike's Hot Honey Pepperoni bagel.
Right.
So we just kind of been taking what we can do and then adding to it. So then the second one she did was she added the pineapple and the puree, and she does her stuff that she keeps behind a curtain because she knows I just tell everybody everything. So she just like
all the trade secrets.
Yeah, because I remember the one kid came down here and he was like, "What's in that mayonnaise?" And then like I told him word for word what the burger was, and then like 2 weeks later, he's like selling the burger, and I'm like, cool.
Get out.
And then Gina's
What
like, that's
jerk.
why you shouldn't do that. And I'm like, well, he's not. I mean, other people can try and make CBD. It's never going to be how you make it. Like, you know what I mean? Like the way
Try
you
your
make
best.
it and put love into it and actually give a shit makes it the product.
Yeah.
So when we did the pineapple bagel, she put like butter and brown sugar on the top, and then we did that. It was a ham and turkey melt with mayonnaise and mustard. And it was nuts. Like I was like, when I start dancing and like running around the kitchen,
about that.
she's like, okay, it's good. So now having this conversation, I want to make a spicy bagel.
You should do so. I would prefer hotter than jalapeno, but the thing is, like, I think
You can't go too far.
flavor and heat are kind of like a weird thing that has to like.
Well, once you mentioned the powder,
balanced.
I was like, okay, well, you could put the jalapenos in it, but jalapeno isn't. You're going to lose all the heat once the bagel bakes. Like
But
there
they
isn't
have
a
the
lot
best
of heat.
flavor.
Yeah, they have good flavor, but the heat. Everyone used to always think that like jalapenos are super spicy, and I don't even think they are anymore.
Yeah, I think
it also depends
collectively,
on,
like the whole world's
Yeah.
spice tolerance is going up a little bit.
But like if you even make like a stuffed jalapeno, sometimes they're super spicy, but it depends on where you're getting it, how fresh it is. So once you were saying the powder, like you would almost put like, I don't know, a half a teaspoon of the ghost pepper in that dough. Is that too much?
Maybe if you're making 15,000 bagels,
So if you would just put a dash,
like
of,
the salt bay of ghost pepper
Like I
powder.
think you can, even if, all right, so take that out of it. You could probably do jalapenos and put crushed red peppers in it.
Crushed red pepper is really, they're good because like they're dried.
Yeah.
So like,
But if you fry them and like bring the oils out, they're hot. They're hot.
That's essentially
Yeah.
infusion, you know?
Yeah, I know nothing about infusion. I know you do it.
It's the best.
You do it nonstop.
It's the laziest type of cooking. Like you just, there's a thing, you melt it into another thing, and it's like, wow, look at this hybrid creation.
Well, like you do the infusion and do different stuff. So like you brought peanut butter, correct? Like because you
I
brought
did,
a bunch
yep.
of new products and that's new. Like how do you go into doing the infusion with that and figuring all that out?
So we infuse our CBD into oils. Those are always our carriers because like the fats make it more efficient to be absorbed through your digestive tract.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how edibles.
Is that how you? That's what I was going to ask. Is that how you do the gummies as well?
Yeah, you got to link it to a fat.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like not really going to affect you that much. So we use a little bit of, I think we use coconut oil for the peanut butter. So if you're allergic to coconuts, beware.
Yeah.
But yeah, the peanut butter is cool because, first of all, it's peanut butter. So who doesn't love that? But
Yeah.
a lot of people come in and they're looking for stuff for like their pets too. So we have pet tinctures. We actually changed the pet tincture to bacon flavor. So it's a little bit more appealing to dogs. I brought you one. But
I'm going to drink it.
bacon water.
Thank you so much for the bacon water tincture. Stop. It's for pets. Please read the label.
Well, the peanut butter works great too. So like if you have a Kong toy or something, just throw a little peanut butter in there.
Yeah. Have you done any food or have you been fucking around with the peanut butter at all? Like just kind of finding recipes and shit?
I just started kind of trying to do DIY recipes for like my Instagram.
Yeah.
I did one so far with the honey.
What did you do?
It was like a spicy soy honey shrimp bowl.
How did you do it on the Instagram? Did you just do
I
like
just
a
made like
reel?
a reel. Yeah,
and
there's
then
a reel on
talk
there.
over it?
I actually used the stupid like voiceover thing where like It's like a robot voice.
Yeah.
I dig it. She's got pipes.
I think if you continue to do stuff like that, that's a good avenue to build up the social media too, because I like following accounts where they'll do stuff like that, and then even if you don't take the recipe, it's kind of like, oh, then you start thinking like, oh, cool, I can use the CBD peanut butter. Because even when you brought that out, I was like, oh, I'm like, I can probably do like a peanut butter and jelly on a bagel, and then I'm like, it started going in my head where I'm like, oh, you can do so much stuff with that.
Yeah, that was kind of the goal with the initial recipe. Like, even if you're not making a shrimp bowl, just like putting in your head that these products are usable in your day-to-day life. Like, you don't have to like dose yourself with just like a spoonful of peanut butter or a spoonful of honey.
Yeah, like you
totally fine. No judgment here, but like,
yeah, but you could be putting the honey and the peanut butter on like a breakfast.
You can use the honey in like a hot and honey wing sauce. You can, yeah. I don't know if you've ever had peanut butter on waffles, but
yes, I have.
Pretty great.
I had peanut butter on the burger at Two Rivers, so you could essentially put that peanut butter on a smash burger.
Yeah, we were in the beginning of the business, we were talking about making a peanut butter burger with the wooden match. The only thing is like CBD kind of starts to degrade at like 300 degrees.
Yeah.
So if you're cooking with it, it's kind of better to like add it on afterwards.
Yeah. Well, like you could also do like a peanut sauce with that. Like, what did you do with the shrimp with it?
I just marinated it. I think it was like honey, soy, ginger, garlic, some hot peppers.
Yeah, because you can make the that like Thai peanut sauce, I think it is, or whatever. It's like soy sauce and peanut butter, and you whip it up. Like that's good over like sesame chicken, and you could probably make a wing sauce with that, with the peanut butter.
I love thinking about like complex edibles.
Well, like the more we keep talking about it, it's like that's what I keep telling everyone. I can't wait for the new studio because we could have just done like all week. Like this is what I get excited on, where it's like all week I could have been like, yo, like what do you want to do? And then you can come over, and now there's a production spot where we could just make that, either a YouTube, you can either do it as a reel, you can do it as a cooking show, you can do it as a YouTube content. Like it's just going to be a monster house for content, and you could take all of it and make all of that out of one thing. But like you can literally, the amount of stuff that we're even talking about with doing the peanut butter is like you can do so much with it.
I cannot wait for Pennsylvania to legalize weed.
Yeah.
Because it is my dream to just like host infusion dinners. Because like a cool thing about
and you've been talking about doing this for like 2 years.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know how long you've been talking about doing it.
For an eternity. I like came out of the womb talking about infusion dinners. But CBD and THC kind of like cancel each other out. Not really, but like if you get too high and you smoke CBD or you eat CBD, like it'll bring you back down.
Ah, good
so
to know.
I think that's like a really cool layer to
where you would bring somebody up and then you would take them back down in dessert.
Yeah, like
almost.
if you have like a 6-course meal or something, like you'd have to like balance the infusion to make sure people aren't like on the moon at the end of it. And I love like the added challenge of like making sure dosage is proper and like,
does anyone do something like that in like PA at all? They do anything in Philly, or can anyone not do anything? Or?
I mean, if they do them, there are people that like make meals, but it's mostly like take home stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like pretty hush hush and underground.
So it would have to be like an invite only thing. Mm-hmm. We could probably pull it off here or at the cafe. We should just do it.
If you're a cop, don't listen.
You're not getting through that door. Yeah, I don't know. I just love the food stuff, and I love the rabbit hole with it. What else did you bring that's new? Because I know you have a bunch of stuff over there.
So mostly with the new stuff, we have the honey flights. I don't think I talked about these yet, but
no, you dropped one off. I didn't even get into it yet. I like the packaging so much. I don't want to use anything in it.
So we had honey that was just in like a pretty like run of the mill jar, nothing special. And the thing is, pretty much every CBD company sells honey. So we were like, well, what are we going to do to make ours stand out or whatever? So now we have this guy. Should I Vanna White it?
Yes.
Thomas always says like when I do this, it's like the DNA thing from Jurassic Park.
It would also be cool to have like an LED light underneath.
Remember,
so
like,
it just glows.
The packaging, the honey flight just costs $100 because the packaging cost me $50. So there's 4 different strains of honey in here. We source them from Sance in Easton. So it's local honey. We have wildflower, orange, blueberry, and clover. 3 of them are broad spectrum and 1 of them is full spectrum. So the full spectrum one, let's see if I could get them out here. The full spectrum one, as with all of our full spectrum products, are the ones that have those like trace amounts of THC in them. So that's kind of like a more efficient product.
Yeah.
Because it creates the entourage effect and stuff. But with all of our packaging, if something has THC in it, it's gold. I don't know if I could see.
Yeah, I like that you do that. And I noticed that when I was just trying to kind of like, I had stuff and I was like, well, wait a minute, is this Delta 8? Is this not? And then I was like, oh, the gold stuff is like the THC stuff.
It is. So we're trying to like go a layer deeper and make the things that are psychoactive shiny.
Yeah.
And then...
I like that though.
But it's not really working out because gold, to be real with you, is a nightmare when it comes to printing. So some people do shiny stuff. Some people do like this one. This was a miss. This is a psychoactive product.
Yeah.
This is Delta 8 flower. So this will get you high when you smoke it, but like...
Is that the same buzz as when you do the Delta 8 edibles, or is it different?
It could be a little bit different because it's like a different modality.
Yeah, because I know sometimes when you hit the pen, it's a different buzz than when you're like smoking a pre-roll.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's... pens are concentrates, so
yeah.
They can get up there with potency.
I take little nibbles, little nibbles.
This one's pretty strong, though. So we get all of our hemp from a local farm called Wild Fox. They're in Bartow, which is like on the other side of Macungie. And this is like, what does this say? It's almost 150 milligrams of THC.
And this is not synthetic.
Per gram.
Marijuana?
No, Delta 8.
Tyler Rothrock.
That's pretty
you did
much
an entire podcast with him.
My entire job is like touring the Lehigh Valley and correcting Tyler Rothrock's mistakes about flower.
We had a meeting for the comedy thing, and somebody had brought up the Delta 8s, and like sometimes when people are like trying to get edibles or they're asking me, I'm like, yo, you can go to Mind Leaf.
Yeah.
On College Hill and buy these for like, what are they, $20?
$20.
$20. And how many are in it? 10?
10.
Yeah. So I was like, for someone like me, it's like that lasts me a while. Like I can take halfers.
Yep.
They're in there. And then sometimes my friends will just take them and then they'll text me and be like, yo, like that was really nice. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, I can go buy those. And I was like, today. I was like, Liz's mom is probably there. Yeah.
We actually get hit up a lot on social media, like asking where the store is and asking if we can help with licensing.
Your store is not hard to find, and if you just Google your name, it says the address.
Yeah, 213.
I like pointing that out to people.
Cattell Street.
Hey, where's your pop-up? It's in the name of the place. You just click on it, and it would tell you immediately where it is.
If you have trouble Googling, we're on
You say
College
it so
Hill.
much nicer. I guess I just get it too much.
We're on College Hill right by the Wawa. So you can stop in. You don't need a medical card.
Yeah.
Delta 8 THC is legal in Pennsylvania without a medical card. It's a legal way to get high right now. Regulations probably coming. But there's other THC
But they've
molecules.
also been saying that since last year.
Yeah, regulation is slow.
Yeah.
It's really slow. Like even Jersey is like not set up really to sell since they legalized. They went recreational.
Yeah.
I think it was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah. And they're still not set up for...
I think maybe they're like nearing the end now, but like they didn't have any dispensaries except for like down by the shore and like it was... Yeah,
so then when
crazy.
it's recreational, anyone could go in and purchase it, or do you still need a medical card?
I think you can just go in without a medical card. I'm not sure how Jersey is going to set it up. It's
Jersey's
weird that it's
always,
like state by state.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to look into it. But there is a dispensary in Phillipsburg now. So.
I got my card a couple months ago. A friend of mine helped me get it. Not helped me get it. Like she walked me through the process because it's not really clear on how to do it.
Yeah.
And like I never looked into it. So I had to like go through all the steps and I was like, man, I'm like nervous. Like, what do I tell them? Like, what if I say something wrong and they're like, hey, this is not something that you need. And I'm like, oh man. So the like I set up a call with a doctor who I guess does like an interview for whether or not you should have your license. And I guess the only way you can get it in Pennsylvania is through post-traumatic stress. I
think they added a lot of,
because like she was like, hey, you can't just like say you have a bad back. Like,
I think you can say like I have anxiety.
Yeah. It was anxiety or post-traumatic stress, but I couldn't be like, hey, I have joint pain.
Right. It has to be. It's anxiety, post-traumatic stress, or like insane neurological issues.
Yeah. So I was like worried, and then I was like, I don't know what. And then like at this point, I'm forgetting like I'm a crazy person. So like. She calls me and I'm driving and she's like, hey, I'm just going to go over some questions and we're going to get into your anxiety or when you feel overwhelmed and we're going to kind of go step by step. And she was like, okay, like, did you have any traumatic things happen to you as a child where this would occur? And I was like, yeah, I'm like, I had shingles when I was a kid and then I was in the hospital and then like, you know, I had swelling of the brain and then like I was held back for a year and then they felt bad for me because I was so young and had this disease and like they just kind of pushed me along. And then she's like, okay. And then she was like, what about, and then so like she walked me through 3 stages of my life and she goes, okay, we can stop there. She goes, you've hit every asset of, she's like, there's 3 categories for post-traumatic stress. She goes, you've hit them all and we don't have to go any further into your life. And I'm only,
like, okay,
I'm only at
28
and I'm like, huh. And then like the more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, why did you think you would have to lie about any of this? Because your life has been so fucked up.
I think that's the thing. Like people think that they need to have some sort of like terminal
that you don't have anxiety
diagnosis
so then,
or like some debilitating disease in order to get a medical card, and it's not really accurate.
A lot of the issues are normal that everybody has on a daily basis. That then this helps you with it.
And I think like the medical program is around like to help people.
Absolutely, because then she had like a conversation with me where she was like. I was like, man, I go to her, I go, I feel terrible. And she's like, what do you mean? And I go, I forgot about all that stuff. And she, you know, I was like doing it in a joking fashion. So she's like laughing a little bit. And I'm like, she's like, well, would you want more information on like what to actually do? And then she started getting into what it's for. And she was like, okay, so like what this is going to be is like, we're going to set you up with a doctor. Now, the first time I went, the doctor was on lunch and I do want to go back and get the free consultation to like what they think should be what I do.
Yeah.
Cause I didn't get it to just get blasted and like, you know what I mean? Like I did it to get help with sleep. That was my main thing is I haven't been able to sleep.
Well, that's like the taboo of medical marijuana. Like everybody thinks like this entire program is like created as like a cheat code for people to just rage.
Yeah.
But it is created like to actually help people out. And like the doctors like approving medical cards. Not every doctor is in the medical marijuana program.
No.
But if they are and they see like the benefit of it, they are looking at weed as though it's like an actual medicine for things that bother you.
But when I talk to a professional, instead of just it being handed to me, I forgot that all of this is occurring with my not sleeping and anxiety. And I know there's stress in real life, but like a lot of it is pattern behavior from what happened to me as a child, because that's, you carry that with as you go further in life. So like I started getting like emotional where I was like, man, I forgot like I used to be at the hospital all the time was I was a kid and doing sleep studies and was like the poster boy for fucking ADHD before it was, you know, this was back when it was Ritalin, not fucking Adderall. So like all this stuff started, and then I started getting like mixed emotions where I was driving. I was like, man, like you're fucked up, and this is that you're
Shit,
like
I'm fucked up.
like I was like, then this lady's like gently bringing me through this, like, hey man, like this isn't something that you're getting to like get fucked up with your friends, where yes, you can use it for that, but like I was like, oh no, I think like this is going to benefit me. And then she was like, I have more information, and like sent me an email with a book that I could order that like, you know, like you can read up on more information. But then she started breaking down on how they were going to use heavy CBD and then slowly add less THC in it. And then I was like, I didn't know, but I knew more about CBD from doing these podcasts with you and just from being friends with you and just generally having questions like when we go get a beer or anything, even talking more about it, or like today's pod. Like, so then I was like, oh, like this isn't just me getting a medical marijuana card. They're making hybrids of like CBDs and THC. And then when I have that sit down with the doctor, she's going to be like, look, like if you, like how you were, you brought over the sleeping gummies. Like, I'm so excited to try those, but like you were like, hey, let me know how this goes. Where like a doctor's going to sit down and be like, okay, well, what do you have? And then you almost like go through a couple of doctor visits until you're going and basically picking up your prescription to deal with anxiety and like to get through a day in a fashion where you're not taking pills and becoming addicted to something or having massive amounts of side effects, where somebody like me who's very self-aware, like I follow the side effects. Like that's why when I was a kid and as soon as I turned 18, I told my parents like, yo, I'm out on that. Like I can tell when I'm up, I can tell when I'm down. Like there's some people who take that shit and they just ride it out and they're like, oh yeah, I'm in a better mood. And they don't realize that like it's the pills changing it. I pay attention to, I can tell when ibuprofen kicks in.
Me too. I'm a hypersensitive person.
So like when you're in that boat, it's hard to start taking prescription medicines and even painkillers I don't like because you know, it's like I'm itchy, like you know what I mean. Like I don't like really taking any. I hate, from being a kid and having to be put on so many mood stabilizers and like all this different shit that was like tests running shit. Like back then it wasn't as like it is now, but even now it's probably just here's more pills to try out on people. But like to be on that shit and going from like Michael to
a robot.
Yeah. And like when I used to go to school with Josh, he would always be like, I'd come in and be like, blah, 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 let's listen to music, blah. And they'd be like, oh, you didn't take your pills today? And I'd be like, what? And then by the fifth time he said it, because like I'd come in and be like, hey. And he's like, what's up? And I'm like, not much. And then we wouldn't talk. And they'd be like, you on your pills today? And I was like, yep. And then one day it was like, I don't like when you take your pills. And I was like, neither do I. I'm not me. So like in order for somebody like me to be able to navigate that, because I still deal with it as an adult, it's just I learned how to control things. And like, you know, that's why I'm hiking every day. It's like a dog. If you don't take it out for a walk, it's just gonna fucking go crazy. Right. So like for me, it's like I look for natural remedies. So like CBD and your products and stuff like that is for me. I don't want I have friends who are fucked up on pills. I have friends who started out on painkillers and then now they're, you know, getting into fucking heroin because it's cheaper than them not being able to afford Oxycontins. I've had friends die from all that shit. Like, I'm super anti-pills. So in order for me to be able to have something like this where, like, I can go to sleep at night and I don't wake up and I'm not hungover. And, like, I also noticed with your tinctures is I don't build a tolerance up to them like I do with, what's the other shit I used to take all the time? Melatonin? Yeah. So like when I take that, if I take that for a week straight, it doesn't work anymore. So like
you build a tolerance up that quick?
Yeah, it's weird.
Wow.
I'm also probably taking like 5 at a time and you're not supposed to, but like I don't sleep. I was up till 3-4 o'clock every night. It's terrible.
Well, I hope that the new gummies work for you. So the new gummies are we're coming out with 2 different kinds. We're coming out with a CBG gummy and a CBN gummy. And both of those things are cannabinoids, just like CBD. They're just like another one that's in the plant. But CBG is kind of the mother cannabinoid to CBD and THC. So it's like the precursor to those two. And it's really good for pain. And then CBN is like what THC converts into. So that's like the web molecularly, how that all works. But people who smoke weed to go to sleep, usually like they smoke a lot of it so that
They pass out.
And CBN is kind of like a way to like cut to the finish line.
Yeah.
Because like they're pretty much like trying to like get enough converted CBN into their system.
Yeah, because I'll do that sometimes at night where I'll hit the pen and then I'm high, so then my body relaxes, and then once my body relaxes, my mind relaxes, and then I'm not like tense and like, you know, I don't know, I have so much stress that like if I don't use this stuff, like it's a very like horrible aggro, like just grinding my teeth, clenching my fists to go to sleep. Like it's not healthy at all.
I don't have an issue falling asleep. I have an issue staying asleep.
Yeah, I have an issue. I have to have noise and chaos going on to fall asleep. So like I have to have a fan running, and then I have TV running, and then like and then I can fall asleep. But then sometimes the TV's too loud, and then I start like waking up and I've interrupted sleep. But like when I hit the pen, or if like I'm having a couple drinks, or I take the tincture, a heavy dose of the tincture, it's not interrupted. And then like I wake up and I'm like, oh man, like I don't even remember what fucking sleep's like anymore.
Yeah. So CBN, I think, is really going to help you out.
I'm using it tonight.
Anecdotally, I don't like it. It like puts me in the ground. It's like taking a shot at NyQuil for me. Yeah. It's like pretty much that efficient.
Do you think I should start with half?
I always tell people to start with half.
Yeah.
I always tell people to err on the side of caution, but like it is
And I probably
sedative.
Shouldn't take it like at like 1 a.m. How long does it last?
I noticed that when I use it, I don't wake up feeling groggy. It's just like that. I don't like feeling like I got hit with like a tranquilizer dart.
Yeah, it's sometimes how the melatonin is, where it's like you wake up and you know it's like there's a time period, like a Tylenol, or you know what I mean. Like say this is gonna work for 8 hours.
I need like 12 hours to sleep off melatonin.
Yeah, so like that's what I'm saying. As somebody like myself who gets 5 hours of sleep, you wake up and now you're in this melatonin hangover.
Yeah.
For which is hard to shake even after a hike because it's like it's there.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't notice like a dip in energy, put it that way.
Yeah.
Like I wake up the next day and I can go about my day, but I like doing crossword puzzles at night.
Such a loser.
I know, right? I'm nerdy about it. So I was like laying on my boyfriend's couch doing crossword puzzles, and I just like woke up like 2 hours later. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I guess it's good. Like my stuff works, but
no, the tinctures.
It's not for me.
I love the tinctures. I don't use the day ones because I don't know if I noticed. I have used the day ones, but I haven't used them enough to notice them. Where the night ones, it's like it's such a transformation of like, I'll just use them and then I just kind of lay down, and then literally 20-30 minutes it's like I start relaxing, and then I'm like, oh cool. But there's also like it's not something that like will completely be like, oh my god, I'm out. Like it relaxes you because sometimes if that window's closing and like I open it back up with like being stimulated, or like I'll take it sometimes, I'm like, we'll be playing video games and then the stimulation hits me and then I kind of miss that closing of the window.
Right.
It still works when you fall asleep, but like to me, using that shit is because I can't go to fucking bed, meaning like I'm too wound the fuck up.
So our nighttime tinctures are just CBD. There's no, and they're isolated CBD. So they're not even like a broad spectrum product. What makes you relax is the terpenes that we add into it. So there's linalool and phytol in it, which are like, linalool is lavender shares linalool in the terpene profile. So it kind of just aids with relaxation, but it's not particularly sedative.
Now, me not knowing anything, can you take that strain and attach it to THC and then you have a complete meltdown body high?
You can. For me, THC doesn't really give me a body high. The CBD is kind of what.
I'm only saying that because of when Space Camp comes on here, they always talk about terpenes or whatever. So I figured they're getting high with it. So would that be...
terpenes are like, they're basically like essential oils.
Yeah.
I hesitate to say that because essential oils have such a connotation right now. Like, let's get our crystals out.
Yeah.
And shit. But they're the oils of the plant.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like a polarizing thing because there's a lot of people in the weed world that are like, terpenes don't mean shit. But then there are people who are super into it, and each terpene has its own list of benefits, basically. And terpene profiles do kind of affect your high a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you're really into it, if you go into dispensaries, like dispensaries will always have cannabinoid and terpene profiles. And it's interesting to just see how like a little plant chemical will like change your whole vibe.
Being in a dispensary for the first time was so odd. It was so odd. And I'm into feeling odd. I like making the room odd. You know, like I'll like dress up stupid just for an odd day. You know what I mean? Like just interacting people and then driving and be like, what are you wearing? So for me to be feeling odd there, like it was just so weird. Like I went in and then there's like a cool like lounge and I was like, oh, this is dope. But then there's doctor, like they sit in there like the nurses do when you go to check in at a doctor's office.
It's like security though, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so that was after that. Like, so like when I talked to them,
really?
Well, I talked to them and went up and they're like, hey, what are you here for? And I was like, hey, you know, I want to see so-and-so. And they were, you know, then they start busting my balls. So there is a little bit of like, you know what I mean? It's a little bit looser than as far as conversation because they're kids. You know what I mean?
They're
not
bud tenders. Yeah.
Yeah. So, then, you know, then I waited and then they called me in and then I go into a door and it closes and then another one. And then I was like, oh, there's like security here. Then I'm like, why wouldn't there be security here? There's all the shit here.
Yeah.
And then I think there was a security guard after that. I don't know because I don't really remember because it was so odd to just see all the stuff where they had it all on shelves.
Yeah.
And then, I like went up to her and then, you know, she's very well versed and is a manager there. So it was like, you know, skipping because the lady wasn't there and I didn't want to wait an hour for her to get back from lunch. It was also good to have her because I was like, this is what's going on. I need these to sleep. And she's like, all right, take these. But then she's like, we also have these 5 milligram capsules that if you're like looking for something like that, she's like, you know, and then it was so surreal to like go through all that and then leave and then drive away and then be like, that has come so far from like me being in 7th grade buying a dime bag off my friend on the bus that was like, you know, I gave him $10 and he put one bud and then burned it with a cigarette the cigarette cellophane. Yeah. And then like I remember I had it on me and I didn't even get through the whole day because somebody said that they knew I had it and I flushed it down the toilet.
Oh my God. Well, that's like how we grow up, right? You are raised to fear weed.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I guess it's like kind of appropriate because like it's been illegal, but like I think that like people are shocked that like it's come such a long way and there's so much like research behind it and so many products available and so many benefits from it and
no one's really ever said anything to me. Like I have my pen and like we went to bare knuckle boxing and the whole time we were just, you know, my friend had his pen and we were just hitting it. We weren't being obnoxious about it and being like clouds vape like, you know, there wasn't techno going on. But we were just hitting it. And then like even when we went out on St. Patty's Day, like I like doing it because it kind of controls the alcohol because if I don't hit it, I'm not relaxed. And then I chase after being relaxed by almost blacking out because then my brain shuts off. Like I know at this point why I'm blacking out.
The exact
I like a nice reset. It's a terrible way to reset.
My drinking, I'm always chasing like social lubrication.
Yeah.
I have like pretty bad social anxiety. Which is weird because I am a social person. But I'm always like kind of on edge when I first get to the night, even if it's like with my friends, I have like a little bit of anxiety. And that's depending how that fizzles away. That's why I drink.
Yeah.
Weed.
I think a lot of people do that.
Weed makes me so awkward and socially anxious.
see,
I cannot smoke it around people.
But I get like that. But what I'll do is I'll announce it. Like we were at Pearly Baker's and I was trying to order because I hit the pen and then when we were in the Uber, it was hitting me and I was like, oh, I don't have any beers in me. This is going to be weird. So I was high when we got there. And then when we got out of the car, I looked at my buddy and I said, I'm high now. And he goes, yeah, me too. But then that like relaxes the social awkwardness.
Okay.
And then we went to Pearly Baker's and I tried to order a drink and I said it wrong twice. And she looked at me and I go, I'm just going to get this out of the way. I go, I'm super stoned right now. I said, it's going to be weird it's going to be weird for the next hour or so till I calm down, but I'm just getting it out of there that I'm high. And then she just starts laughing and she's like, yeah, totally cool, man. And I'm like, cool. Or like, I've already taken edibles during the fights around all my friends.
Yeah.
And I'll just stand up and be like, the edible is hitting me. I'm going to be weird for at least 2 hours. Do not bother me. And if I look odd, it's because I'm peeking off the edible. And they all laugh, but then like it's me just like taking out, is he looking at me? Why are you looking at me? Am I breathing wrong? Like I take all that out by announcing it.
That is what it is.
Yeah.
The social
Because if you get caught up
like
in that,
the paranoia.
And, and
like,
I'll live there. So like I get that right out of the way and I'll be like super fucking high right now.
I also loop what I'm saying. So like a sentence will come out of my mouth. I'll repeat it in my brain. So then I say it and I think it. And then I'm like, did I really say it out loud? Or have I just been thinking it? And it's just like,
but I like how lax it is where like and I'm not stupid about it. Like if it's like a bar where people aren't, if I'm at like the townhouse or somewhere where it's like dim lit and nobody gives a shit, I'll just rip my pen and keep it on the bar. But if I'm out somewhere where I'm out to eat and we're high, but nobody really knows, like I'll go to the bathroom and hit my pen. Like we were doing that a lot at Bare Knuckle, even though we were like in an audience, but like I really enjoy that. Like it's come that way where I don't got to go outside behind the bushes and like, take a little hit and be like, okay, let's go back inside. Nobody knows we're smoking pot.
Well, it's crazy because like the stigma is still there. Like I think like a lot of like the advancements of the culture have happened because like the numbers are there.
Yeah.
Like I think people just accepted the fact that almost everybody smokes weed.
Yeah.
But the stigma is still there regardless. It's really, really weird. So I think like the reefer madness era is just like looking at us with the screw face, you know what I mean? And
what do you think it's going to take? Do you think it's going to take it being completely recreational in Pennsylvania for it to kind of come off?
For the reefer madness era, I think it's going to take the FDA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the government is really like dragging its feet on like actual government backed research towards both CBD and THC. We have like, I think we have like one farm in all of America that's like government approved to grow the weed for medical research, which like limits like a ton of variables in farming. And then, we just like don't have like enough testing done to create like actual reliable results. Like that's the weird thing. Like everybody's experience with weed is kind of different.
Yeah.
So like
there's got to be a majority of parents at this point who are super lax, not letting their kids get high. But it's all experience. Now my parents came up in the 60s and like I didn't think my mom ever smoked pot ever just because of how my mom is. But then she's like, Michael, I was born in the 60s. Like I came up in the 60s. Of course, everybody did it. So it's like my parents were never like, you shouldn't smoke pot. Like they, you know what I mean? They didn't yell at us for it, or I don't even know if they had to have known we were doing it. But like, when it got to an age, we stopped getting like, they never really like gave a shit about it. And then it wasn't really a thing that was like, you better not do it. So, you figure the way it is now, and then the generation raising their kids now, it's, where you can get a medical card. And, my friend's son was like, I found your vape pen, or like something happened and he was questioning it. And I was just honest with him. And I was like, hey, I have a medical card. Like I could legally go get it. Like it's okay for me to do that. But like that wasn't a thing when we were kids.
Right.
So
My
it's
mom always told me not to smoke weed.
well,
which is so
never
funny.
It was never brought up. Like they were never like, don't do drugs. Like, you know what I mean? Like there was times when we got in trouble, and like I remember getting picked up, and my mom was like, "Were you smoking grass?" And we're just like, "What?" You know what I mean? Like she knew, but like we were never like sat down and was like, "You cannot be doing this."
My mom's thing was,
Or maybe it
always
wasn't.
like,
I don't remember.
she always used to tell me like, Liz, you're high on life. Don't smoke weed. You're good. You have a natural high going. And then like I grow up, I find her stash in the fucking garage.
Yeah. Well, I remember
and I was
finding
like,
my dad's
Mother.
hookah pipes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't
funny.
smoke really.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't smoke really.
Which is crazy because everybody probably thinks that you smoke all the time.
They do. I think like it's expected in the industry. Like even at like industry events, always getting past shit. And I'm kind of like, I'm working, number one.
Yeah, I can't work and be high. No
way.
I don't know.
I don't know how people do that.
No, I don't want it to be a thing that I can do while I'm working. Like, like sometimes I'll get high with a guest because they want to get high and talk, and like I'll have that conversation. But like when I use it, I try and just keep it to the weekends because I don't want to get into a bad habit of just using it constantly. Like I'd rather use the tinctures or the gummies to go to sleep than to constantly be smoking. One, I would just be out of weed constantly.
Yeah.
And then two, like I like it being a thing on the weekend where now it's like, cool, like Saturday I'm gonna smoke and watch the fights, and it's like my relaxation time. It's like, it's my end of the week thing that I do. Plus I really like smoking a little bit and then just getting into a drink, and like that's like I don't want that to be every night.
I think
like I've learned that lesson.
I think we talked about this one time earlier. I can't remember if it was like on another pod or if it was just like at the bar one day, but like I think personal rituals are so important to mental health. Like whether you like come home and take a bubble bath, or like on Friday your thing is like, I'm gonna have a beer and smoke a joint.
Yeah.
Like I think if your ritual is weed, like there's such a connotation on that sometimes from people, and it's like, fuck off. Like this makes me chill out. This is how I process life, and this is how I get through my week. And I think like people should actually pat themselves on the back for that, for like finding out something that works for them. And
I mean,
chill out.
I started using it kind of on the weekends where I would listen to music with a friend of mine and we would get into vinyl. And then like the one thing I do like about it is that you can like get high, stop smoking, and in 3 hours you come down off of it. But I also like coming down and then just going a little chirp, coming back up, little chirp, couple drinks in between. Now that is a rocky, very rocky thing to navigate, and I probably only pull it off 2 out of 5 times. But like it's what I enjoy doing, because if I don't smoke a little bit, then I'll go heavy into just getting drunk, and I don't like drunk version of me. Yeah, it's fun, but like I don't like not being able to, like, I like being able to navigate. Now, like but then that's when I started realizing, like, if I smoke first and then I kind of layer some drinks into it, I'm good for the night. I don't have to have my friends carrying me, yelling at, hey, what are you doing? You're like yelling at people. And like, I don't like that out of controlness anymore being in my 40s. Like that doesn't work well in your 40s. Like in your 20s, you can run wild and do all that stuff. So like now that I'm kind of getting older, and like I'm just kind of like seeing things. One, the hangovers are terrible. Where like I can smoke and I'm not hungover. I'm rested the next day.
I call that afterglow.
It's like I'm actually, it is an afterglow, because it's like, if I just smoke and then like get into like watching all of the Matrix alone, like I'm waking up the next day completely rested.
Yeah, well, you brought up music. So weed and like I think like hippie culture is so fucking great, right? And it's because like people are just combining drugs and music.
Yeah.
And like drugs are such an elevating tool. Like you can immerse into things that like you'll hear like nuance in music all the time. So this is my advice to the listeners. Smoke some fucking weed and listen to music. Just veg out on your couch. Make it a weekly ritual. Come down off of your week and just like take a moment, like take an hour to just like vibe a little bit.
Yeah, as soon as I wake up, I put on Spotify and they have the weekly It's the like a weekly playlist that they have.
The Discover Weekly.
Yeah.
Yo, this
Discover
is
Weekly's
the
crazy.
best.
Yeah, it really is.
The algorithm has me pegged too.
Yeah,
like they're really good.
There's been one, sometimes it'll go too slow for me, or like I'm in a mood and I don't want slower music, but like that algorithm has hit 99.9% of the time dead on. Like even this week's, which just played through, like, so like when I get up, that music goes on, and like music is all day long, like, and then on the weekend, sometimes like we'll just smoke and have a couple drinks, and we'll just go through YouTube videos and just watch music videos the entire night. And then, you know, there's like a big part of me that will just literally listen to music. Even having a couple drinks and just listening to music, it's just, I don't know. I'm obsessed with music. It like literally dictates my day. It'll be... I'll listen to it here, and then I'll go out to my van to go for a ride somewhere, but then immediately that playlist is transferring over into the van, and then it's just constant.
What kind of music do you like?
It's so weird.
Khruangbin.
I got into them, and then that kind of brought me into like so many other different things, and then like right now I have such a weird palette of like music from like Japanese breakfast and Khruangbin, and you know, and then I got into... but then like there's so much different music on that Discover Weekly, and then I'll get into like band. The other day I was listening to Discover Weekly, and like Rasta music came on, and I was like, oh, I haven't listened to reggae in forever, and I was like, I forgot how much I like reggae, because I found listening to reggae through an XM station when I worked in a kitchen 20 years ago, and like that since that time. And then I listened to reggae when I was on vacation in the Outer Banks, and we were at just some dive bar drinking Red Stripe on vacation, getting like fish tacos. And I was like, oh, reggae. This is why people listen to reggae.
I got married at a reggae concert. I'm divorced now, but you know,
yeah.
Go figure. But yeah, reggae is the fucking best.
Yeah. So then I went down a rabbit hole from the band that I found on that track. So then their actual albums were listenable, because a lot of the times they're not like one-hit wonders on Spotify Weekly. Yeah. Like their actual like band's super comparable. So then I went down a rabbit hole with the reggae, and then that took me back to Toots and the Maytals, and then like I was just listening to reggae for like 3 days. But like that's what I do, is I just totally immerse myself.
So I listen to EDM. Me and my friends go to a lot of music festivals.
Yeah.
And EDM is such a like blanket genre. Like there's so many like subgenres of it. Like I think if people don't listen to it, they just think of like techno and whatever. My taste in music has just gotten progressively weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder the older I get. And now I'm like, I love glitch hop.
I don't know what that is.
So it's like, I think it pretty much like gets its roots in like scratching.
Yeah.
So there's like a couple of DJ, like Detox Unit, Tipper, Jade Cicada. There's like all these guys like making this really weird music. Like one of my friend's girlfriends calls it transformer sex. And like, so I'm bringing this up because I was just like chilling with my friends at a party, and we're all getting high, and I put on one of these songs, and I had to leave the party because I told you like I get socially anxious, right? So I put on one of these songs, and one of the kids at the party was like, Liz, this is tough, Liz. He's like, I can't listen to this.
There's nothing worse than you're at a party and someone doesn't like the music you choose.
It was like the record skipped. I was like, what? And then I was just like, I got to go home. The vibe isn't right here for me.
I get like that a lot. And then what happened one time is we go out to the end of my buddy's property, and it's usually just me and him, and we'll make like a fire, and then I think like his family was away. So like we were like, all right, we like tried to invite a bunch of people over. No one showed up. It was just me and him. And he had a pre-roll of Space Monkey. And he's like, we're going to smoke the Space Monkey. And I'm like, cool. And then I took a hit, and he was like, all right, here it is again. And he's a bully with that. He'll like be like, no, go again.
No.
So then we ended up, I was like, yo, bro, like, I don't want to smoke any more of this. And he's like, dude, like, just let's go. And he's like, there's no one here. We're out by a fire. And he's like, we're going to look for aliens. So I was like, fuck it. And we smoked the whole thing. And when you do that and you push yourself past being the weird stoned, you cannot help but be that fucking high, and you can't be thinking about being that fucking high because you're that fucking high. And ever since then, I've had I still get a little weird like you're talking about, but it kind of broke away because I'm like, well, I'm not as high as that time in the field. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I get what you mean. Yeah.
So like,
but I have a friend, shout out to Michelle. I'm putting her on blast. She's like, any time that like we've gotten high together and she wants to do more and she wants me to join her, her argument is always like, Liz, we're already high.
Yeah.
Like, how much higher can we get? And it's in the moment in my head, I'm like, yeah, you're right. You always get higher.
Yeah.
I don't know where the threshold is.
He's already bullied me to the point where I was like, all right, I'm going to pass out. Like, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not up. I'm done, dude. Like,
Yeah.
Because especially if like I don't get a lot of good sleep, so then sometimes it's hard to stay up super late. Where somebody who gets an accurate amount of sleep all week, they can stay up super late. So I'm up sometimes super late, but eventually I crash, and it's usually like Sundays. I think it's why I don't really hang out with anyone on Sundays, because I'll just do nothing. I don't turn a light on down here, and I'll just sleep all fucking day, off and on. I'll order a pizza. I already got it down. They leave it on that fucking black thing upstairs. Do not talk to me. Do not look at me. And then I'll go up. I'll get my pizza. I'll come back down. I'll eat pizza. Go back to sleep. So I think eventually, like, I bottom out from it and get caught up on sleep, because it's not like you can't just not have sleep.
That sounds incredible.
It's that Sunday, yes.
I started working on Sundays recently.
Believe me, my life is about to completely change. I'm getting up at 5 a.m. and fucking working weekends. God. Yeah.
Well, working from home is like, it's such a double-edged sword.
It's tough.
Because like you're just at home like drinking your morning coffee, and it's like, cool, it's Sunday. I should probably take a day for myself. But then I always like fall into this trap of like, well, if I get some shit done today, then I will have less to do tomorrow. Yeah. And it's not true.
No.
The workload is just always there. So
I write a bunch of shit on the dry erase board, and then each day I try and do it. But like today is like usually when I'm wrapping up the podcast. But I've also come to the terms now where like I try and reserve, like I don't try and do a lot when I have the days of interviewing, because I started realizing like how much energy, like yesterday I was coming home from Two Rivers, and I had to interview Ted in 2 hours, and I was like, all right, now I missed 2 calls. Now if I would have answered both those calls, I would have been on the phone for an hour, and that's energy. And then I would have had to come home, be on the phone, and then I just pictured not being able to turn the lights on and get set up. And like I like having time between somebody getting down here, and sometimes I'll just lay on the couch and just put on music and just really calm down so that people are getting the best interview that they can, not me being on the phone for 2 fucking hours before they walk in. Now I've been running around all day, stopped over at Vintage and then went to Two Rivers and booked 2 podcasts, did social media at both, got on the phone for 3 hours, came back here, turned all this shit on, did the white balance for everything, I wasn't done with Ted's interview till we did an hour and 30. Like he left at 8 o'clock. Like, damn. You know what I mean? Like, then if I don't separate that energy in that time, that's how you burn out. Well, and then like people get mad when I don't people get mad when I don't answer the phone. Or like my new thing is I have do not disturb on. If you put do not disturb on, and at the end of your day, look at the amount of shit that would have took you back into your phone and like took time, that like I'll have 45 group text messages that are all about nothing. And then I'm like, God. But then I'm looking at that and I'm like, man, that's because you don't just look at your phone. Now you're back on Instagram. Now you're checking stuff.
That is
Then I have missed calls. So now I have missed calls that I would have had to send a voicemail because it's telemarketing. Then it's missed calls about people that I can talk to later in the evening, or I will talk to later in the week. And then like I really just started realizing how much of my fucking day I'm being pulled back into the phone. It sucks.
I do not accept phone calls.
It's on do not disturb now. If I didn't have this on, like I could pull it up now.
This has been years of tough love for my friends,
I have
family
6
members.
notifications from Instagram, and I have 2 missed text messages, and I have a missed call. That would have all been during this interview if I wouldn't have this on Do Not Disturb. Now, if it would have, granted, it would have been a second, but we would have stopped talking, and then I would have been like, oh, and now I'm double thinking about this interviewing you, and addressing nonsense on my phone.
Yeah, that's the scatterbrained world we live in, right? Like consumption of everything all the time,
It sucks.
access all of the time.
I'm really trying to like make effort to disconnect from that. And then like, cause when I went up into the mountains, I was like, really,
I love the mountains.
I really remembered what it was like to not be bothered by people. Like we had to drive into town, and it was 15 minutes of just woods. There wasn't a fucking Wawa. There isn't a goddamn plaza. It's like, and then you're not distracted by anything.
You got to live off the land. You got to.
It was so beneficial to get out there and do that. But it's like, sometimes like, all that shit catches up.
Is important. Decompression is super important.
But then all that shit also fucks with you when you get high. Because like, I don't know if you do this, but sometimes when I get high, I'll start like looking back on the day, on the week, and being like, why did you say it like that to that person? Or like, you know what? That person really wasn't being honest with you. Like I start like over analyzing like interactions with people that were like real quick and like I didn't pay attention to, but they just kind of hung on to the back of my head.
That's the social anxiety, man.
Yeah.
What a trap.
Yeah.
What a serious trap. For
You can
some
smoke
reason,
past that.
that's actually a thing that like in my 20s, I think I just didn't give a fuck about anything.
Yeah.
I was actually a jerk. I was like a pretty big jerk in my 20s.
Yeah.
But like as far as like confidence and like just navigating the world, it was great.
Yeah.
It's great being a jerk because you don't care.
Yeah.
But now, like in my 30s,
Yeah, you definitely.
kind
A lot
like,
of people
oh
do that
shit,
in your
was
20s.
I like, was I being a jerk?
Yeah.
And it's like,
You
you're-
start like paying attention to shit that you are and you're not supposed to do. And even in my 40s, like I love it because I feel like I'm the most mentally sound. Like your 20s, you're wild and you don't know what you're doing. And then your 30s, you start calming down from that. And then your mid 30s, like different lights start turning on. And then when you hit 40, everything makes sense as to like how you should be, how things should be, how like, it was just easier to think. And they say from like 40 to 50 is like, that is where you are most mentally sound. And then from 50 on is when you start like breaking down. Like, you know what I mean? Like your mental starts going, it's when your joints start, your body is falling apart.
That's why you need to do crossword puzzles. I'm telling you, they keep you sharp.
I
sharp
play,
as a tack.
I get into video games. I play with one of my friends in the evening, and it's really more about being on the headset and just talking. It's not really about like the video game. It's more of like, just kind of like interacting in that fashion and kind of winding down the day. So like I now put that in as my ritual, as like it's a comforting way to end the day where like there's no like sometimes we'll just bitch to each other about like shit like like if there's like a bad podcast or like if something's going on I'll like talk to him about it, and he's like I think he's in his like late 40s, early 50s. So like I also started trying to pay attention to people who are older than me and actually listen to them and not pretend that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
We all need voices of reason. Yes.
Yeah, so it's like, I have that now where it's like, that's my crossword puzzle. Like we'll get on and just fuck off with GTA, and like it's just a thing that we do, and like you're just kind of like problem solving and you're building and doing like puzzles within the game, but then at the same time it's like me and him are just like talking, and like he's the same way where it's like he's just kind of like deals with all this shit all day, and then at the end of the day you just unwind, and like it's just it's therapeutic to a sense, or like that's why I like hiking.
That's your
I can't
little
wait.
Ritual.
I can't wait for the weather to break. Like I'm gonna go in
my
the mountains.
God.
I'm planning
Fucking
a 15
endless
mile
winter right
15
now.
Today's the last day. Tomorrow, I think.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because I think tomorrow it starts going up. It's in the 60s. By Fridays, it's mid 50s, and then all next week it's mid 50s. So
Pennsylvania always
it
like
sucks. It sucks.
dagger to the
It
fucking
sucks.
heart.
It sucks. I will be the typical person who gets a bungalow in Florida, and I will fucking leave.
I'm going to Florida this weekend to see all those glitch DJs I was just talking about.
You travel a lot for music.
I do. It's that is definitely like my number one thing that I enjoy doing. I've been to like every major festival.
Have you seen Crumvin?
I have seen Khruangbin.
Son of a bitch.
I'm like, I actually have turned into like that douchebag where like, it's not just me, my friends and we all make these excursions. So like, you almost can't be around us because like if you bring up anybody that you like listening to, one of us is going to be like, I saw them over in because we've just been going to concerts for like, 15 fucking years.
Are you a big Music Fest person?
Music Fest sucks. Dude,
who do they have this year?
I didn't see. Sometimes every once in a
Stephen
while.
Marley, maybe it's one of the Marley guys.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But I would like to like overly dress in like reggae, like with like fake dreads. And,
oh my god!
And like just go down there and like get too fucked up.
I feel like Music Fest for what it is could be so much better.
Yeah, I don't.
But
see
it's
how
all
it
like
isn't.
old white guys like deciding everything. So it's like the headliner will be like Jason Derulo, and it's like. Okay. When was the last time Jason Derulo came out with an album?
The Counting Crows, who a friend of mine took me to see Counting Crows, and Hootie and the Blowfish opened. Ooh. And Hootie and the Blowfish hit a home run. I defend Hootie and the Blowfish now.
Yo,
it was before he went country.
Singer.
Yeah.
He's super talented.
Yeah,
musically.
It was before they went country, so like he was still doing the hits.
What's his name?
Darius Rucker.
Darius Rucker.
Wrong. Yeah. And then Counting Crows came on, and I never listened to Counting Crows other than Mr. Jones. Because it was on TRL. That's that. When I get home, you put on fucking MTV
like
channel
a whole
18.
Generation of kids that have no idea, or generation of adults that don't know what TRL is. They grew up without TRL.
No, I was in TRL because it's what you put on when you got home from school. MTV.
Yeah.
You just saw all the videos, and then so. Counting Crows, the first time I saw them, I think was at like Allentown Fairgrounds, and they're fucking awesome. And I was like, everybody was there for a different reason. Everybody cried at the concert. And so we left, and then I was like a Counting Crows fan. And then like, I got into their albums and stuff, and like they came back to Music Fest, but they brought a hip hop guy with them. And then like when they do their album, they'll come back and they'll do like remixes of songs so that their fans who follow them around are not having to see the same thing. They still do the hits, but then they'll be like, hey, here's this version of Hanging Around, and they'll like change the songs up.
Well, that's actually why I like going to see live shows. Because the music is always like a little bit different.
But this time they brought out a rapper, and it didn't work at all. It was like some white dude, and like we left early, and then I saw that they posted that Counting Crows was going to be back, and I was like, oh, I'm checking the comments, and everything was like the last time they were here, and they're like Counting Crows fans, but like it was absolute dog shit. I don't know what Music Fest does wrong, or like how you would make that better. I just feel like for how big it is, they should have way bigger acts in there that they are.
Listen,
or they should at least try and get...
Having vended in Bethlehem for like Chris Kindlemar, we haven't done Music Fest with them because we used to do it with the Wooden Match, which is like its own little...
Oh, yeah. I always I wanted to do that. I want to work with them when they do that.
They're fun. They're fun with it. And it's like no fucking rules over there. So
yeah.
But Bethlehem is like... They charge out the ass.
Oh yeah, it's a money maker.
Your booths are expensive. Yeah. They tax you an additional 3% on all of your profits that you make. So you have to like report your profits to them, and like it's crazy. And like for the amount of money that they're making with Chris Kindlemar is a 6-week festival. Music Fest is a 10-day festival.
Yeah,
and like you should be getting more relevant music.
Yeah. They really should. I feel like with having Martin Guitar here and like who Martin Guitar sponsors, like why are you not pulling John Mayer? Why are you not like, I always find it crazy that none of these places, or there's no one with a creative edge that's like, hey, we should be doing this. Like, why isn't there anyone pushing the boundaries of who to get?
The art section, very sad. Yeah. I remember there's like, who's the kid that does like the psychedelic paintings? There's like one kid who like, the first year he was there, I was like, finally, someone doing something besides sterling silver jewelry.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how many tents can you go to and see the same fucking thing? Yeah. It's like depressing. So, whatever. Fuck Music Fest.
Yeah, no, I just saw that they were... one of the Marley brothers are there, but I went and saw Damian Marley in Philly when Welcome to Jamrock came out, and then Stephen Marley came out, and then they ended the show doing Bob Marley's hits, and it was like his two of the sons. I don't know how many he has, but like there was two of them there.
He has a daughter that is Ziggy Marley too.
Yeah, so like they came out, and then and it might even have been all of them. I don't remember, but it was so long ago. But like, you know, I'm not gonna top that experience. I'm like, if I go there for fucking Marley, it's just gonna be a shitload of people smoking fucking weed in like a packed in fucking area.
Hot boxing arts quest.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll start wrapping up. We're almost going at an hour. This is like the Ted's podcast.
We've been on the horn.
What do you want to go over before we close up with kind of like what? And we didn't smoke. I'll just.
I know. I was
I'll
gonna
book you again.
roll some shit up for us.
It just went. This is what happens. It was just naturally a podcast, but we could just do that idea, and then I'll just book you when we're over today, and then I'll just bring you back. What do you want? I kind of want to just let you kind of push the new products and kind of where anybody can get a hold of Mind Leaf and really hammer in that they can get the Delta 8s in store and it is not synthetic marijuana, Tyler Rothrock. It is not gas station boner pills.
Yeah, so we have all of the same goodies, the edibles. We have pretzels, we have honey, we have peanut butter, we have the gummies. New shit coming down the pike is the CBN and the CBG gummies.
Any new pretzels?
No new pretzels, but we still have the garlic ranch, which I know you like. I don't know have I been here since we made them a 30 quantity bag?
No, I don't. Maybe not.
We made them a little bigger, so you can
doggy.
Yeah, we get new flour in all the time, always sourced from Pennsylvania farms. You can come in and get high without a medical card. My mom will talk you through the whole gamut. She'll actually talk your ear off. She won't let you leave.
Well, everyone I send over there, like, will text me that and be like, "Oh my God, Liz's mom," and then your mom will text me and be like, "Oh my God, thank you for sending that person."
Yeah, it's great. She's the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, so our store's at 213 Cattell in Easton. Please stop in, say hello to Dawn. Follow us on social media. We're always at Mind Leaf CBD on all the platforms. We got some new things coming up. I think we're doing a holistic show. We're sponsoring a comedy show in Emmaus called Weeding Out the Stones.
Where are you doing it at that theater?
Emmaus Theater.
They're doing so much stuff there. I got to get a hold of that guy.
Yeah, it's like, so this was actually a really cool idea. I think it's like 7 panelists or something, and like one person is not high.
Yeah.
So like it's gonna be pretty funny, but we're donating a bunch of THC gummies. So the first 25 people to go there, I think, will get a free gummy, and then everybody on the panel is getting joints from us. So
hell yeah,
that'll be coming up, and then I'm trying to think if we have anything else.
Are you guys doing anything at the college?
So it's really weird. I was just talking to my chiropractor about this morning. Lafayette is surprisingly progressive. Like they have like some classes that like the students will come in and they'll be like, "Oh, we just learned about CBD today." And like if Lafayette's listening to this, call me. I'll donate pretzels, I'll donate whatever. Like if you guys are learning about CBD and you want to try it all out, like let me know. I like
it'd be cool to do something with the college.
Local collabs and stuff. They have asked us about like stopping in I guess they have like a job fair. So I don't know if people are interested in getting into the cannabis industry. I don't know that the way I did is like the way to do it.
Yeah.
But I guess I could talk on it.
Yeah. You should do talks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like talking so much.
No, you wouldn't. You would totally have a meltdown.
I know.
Like vomit beforehand. But if you're able to pull it off, you could do it.
Yeah. I'll just load up with CBD first.
Yeah. The one day you like you texted me and you're like, "Oh, I'm just," because we'll always text back and forth, be like, "We need beers and tears," and then we just meet up and have beers and complain. And I'm like, "Have you ever tried CBD?" You're like, "Shut up."
So to be honest, I actually forget about it.
Yeah, that's what
a
you
lot
said.
of the time.
You're like, "Yo, I forget."
Well, I'm just like fully immersed in it all the time, so
Yeah.
it's around me like 24/7. So I just like kind of forget, like, oh, this is a thing I can also use.
Yeah.
So, but
Got him.
That was Kevin.
Now, Kevin, I believe, maybe Kevin's still here, and I didn't get him. I'm excited for fruit flies, and we'll be above ground soon. Soon enough, we will be above ground, and the studio will be no longer. I'll probably cry when we leave.
Just have a going away party.
I'm done with parties here. The comedy party will be the going away party.
Okay.
That's going to be fun. I think he's releasing information on that this week. But this is going to air probably after that. I don't know. I'm so caught up on shows. I'm just like, woohoo. But now I have a mountain of editing to do. Thank you for coming on. I always appreciate you bringing this stuff on.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
Mind Leaf is a sponsor of the show. Please go show them love. A lot of people hit me up about their CBD needs, and I send them over there. And then Liz's mom really takes care of everyone that comes in there, so they actually do hit me up, and they talk about it. If you are looking for edibles, that Delta 8, it's nice. When Liz told me it would make you flighty, it was definitely more than flighty. And the people I share it with when they come down here, they're pleasantly surprised with the buzz. So if you want your Delta 8s, go over to Mind Leaf CBD.
I have one more thing to say. New customers, mention you're a new customer. If it's my mom will probably ask you because she loves giving out discounts. I actually I don't want my customers to really hear this, but I kind of lecture her where I'm like, Mom, are you ever going to make a full price sale? But she loves giving discounts out, and we give 20% off for new.
Yeah, but people appreciate that too, and then they end up buying more at the store.
Yeah. I know. I don't lecture it that hard.
No,
because it is a thing,
and people appreciate when you take care of them like that, and you can get a little bit of a discount, and then they come back. But everyone that I sent there was pleasantly surprised, and really, with how professional your mom is, but then how professional the product is. So go over to Mind Leaf College Hill and check that shit out. You can also order it online. Yep,
www.mindleafcbd.com.
Cool. Thank you so much. We'll run this back again and actually do what we said we were going to do for 3 days. If you're a first-time listener, first-time watcher, everything is on neveragainstudio.com. Subscribe to the YouTube. We're trying to build the YouTube channel. I have all my apparel coming back in April. I'm working with Dynamite Screen Printing, and remind me to talk to you about this, is that I'm going to be now doing drop shipping and going to be able to, he came on as a sponsor for the show, and he is building drop shipping. So if you're a company and you want to start dabbling into apparel, but you do not want to buy a shitload of apparel, we can build you out a little drop ship store, and then if somebody wants to buy something, they can buy it. So it's like Shopify, but with better profit for you to make on the margins of what you sell stuff for. And he's 10 minutes from the studio. He's Nazareth based, so I've been and he's building his business up, so I'm super excited to have him on as a sponsor. And you can check out all of our other sponsors. We have Rips Auto Detail for your car services. Then we have Luke Delmeyer. We're dropping the working class video. Plumbers, everybody in the network, they're all good people, and they will help you out. So check them out. Check out Mind Leaf. Thank you so much for coming on. And thank you for the coffee and everything.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
All right. God bless. God bless. Be safe. Drive safe.
Hashtag blessed.
Never Again Radio. Get into it, brother.